Jones, and this is explained for Lost Disney Media Iceberg. So, let's go! The Black Cauldron deleted scenes. The sets of deleted scenes from the 1985 Disney picture. The Black Cauldron is confusing, but be regarded as partly found. The film is notable for its rock production history and the existing cuts made by then Disney presents Jeffrey Katzenberg, who thought the key scenes too gloomy for a Disney animation film. While a complete fully animated director's cut has never been released, and the deleted sequences themselves have not been formally restored or disturbed in the final version, a significant amount of information about them has surfaced over the years. This includes storyboards and production art. Several storyboards, production drawings, and other pieces of artwork representing the deleted scenes have been made available through auctions, internet archives, and fan communities. This artwork gives us a clear visual record of the film, introduced content, some of more prominent scenes documented this way include a particularly brutal correlation birth process and the characters' dollies attempt to destroy the cauldron. Audio and soundtrack gaps. The original film soundtrack features certain gaps and varied leaps that enthusiasts believe much the deleted sequence. This has promoted inquiries and fan-made recursions aimed at determining the original objective of this film's musical score, picture books, and tie-in. Early tie-in media, such as a record and picture book issued around the same time as the film, include illustrations and narrative sections that match to the deleted sequence, providing a window to the original story prior to the edits. Status partly found. Cars 3 deleted scenes. The deleted scenes from Cars 3 were not lost in the usual scenes. A variety of deleted sequence and differently story concepts were made available as supplementary features on film, home media release, digital Blu-ray, and DVD. This sequence frequently provide insight into the film production and the revival alternative paths of the story could have taken. Examples of official release additional context include alternative ending and narratives, deleted scenes such as the Boogie Woogie discussions and behind the scenes stories from film production. While not the contextual art or cutscenes have been posted on the official release, includes the main deleted scenes and story aspects that are frequently discussed online. Status of Lost. Disney Circle 7 Animations. Circle 7 Animations was a short-lived division of the Walt Disney feature animation that was established to produce sequels to Pixar films. It lasted from 2004 to 2006 and did not produce any films. The studio was born out of a poor relationship between Disney and Pixar's then CEOs, Michael Eisner and Steve Jobs. History of Circle 7 Animation. Circle 7 Animations was the result of a contract disagreement between Disney and Pixar. The two businesses signed a 7-film distribution pact that granted Disney rights to Pixar pictures and characters. Disney maintained that the sequel Toy Story 2 did not count against the 7-film contract, but Pixar disagreed. When the negotiations of a new deal fell through, Eisner founded Circle 7 Animations to allow Disney to make its own sequels, serving as a bargaining chip or backup plan. Rivals marketed the studio as Pixarant. Plan to projects and status. Circle 7 Animation was charged with developing computer animation sequels to numerous Pixar films. It began work on early draft on 3 projects. Toy Story 3 plot included Buzz Lightyear being recalled to a Taiwanese plant due to pollute causing the authorities to embark on mission to save him. Monster Incorporated 2, Lost in Paradise. This sequel would have following Mike and Sally's trek to human realm to find the book after learning she and her family had relocated. Finding Nemo 2, the plot revolved around Nemo and Dory trekking across the ocean to rescue Cod Merlin with the introduction of Nemo's long-lost brother Remy. The studio only got as far as generating screenplays concepts art before being closed down. Status particularly flaws. Frozen early drafts. You can talk about what will happen with Elsagate and the like, but still it's not about this topic, it's about Frozen. To put briefly, Walt Disney himself had the idea to make a film version of the Snow Queen since 1937. Also, this idea was put on a long shelf to be implemented in the future. Disney Renaissance version. During the Disney Renaissance, another attempt was attempted to adapt the Snow Queen with Glenn Keane and Alan Menken working on the project. Aside from concept drawings, little is known about this version. Keane later left the project in 2003 to concentrate on the film that would become Disney's Tangled. There was even a separate song created for this cartoon called Love Can't Be Denied. Here it's just a part of it. A very strange fact, as no one was planned in the plot, this can be understood from the storyboard from 2003. Also, it was planned with head, but if you know what Olaf looks like, Anna and the Snow Queen. Another fourth adaptation occurred in 2008, known as Anna and the Snow Queen. This correction would have taken a more humorous approach. The Snow Queen, now known as Elsa, was more an over-the-top drama queen with a design and demeanor largely influenced by figures as Bette Midler and Amy Winehouse. Josh Gad had been cast to portray Olaf instead that the film will be class animated with Megan Mullally playing Elsa. Despite these adjustments, Disney failed to build an intriguing tale using the premise, and the picture was shelved in 2010. Of a revival villain Elsa / the prophecy. Yes, from the storyboard you can understand that there was an alternative version for Let Go, and that Elsa built a castle and changed from one outfit to another. Also, she herself looked more malicious. Status particularly found Gigantic. Gigantic was a projected computer animated musical comedy film made by Walt Disney Animation Studios and released by the Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. Nathan Grano and Meg LaFleur were supposed to direct it, and it was originally intended to be the 59th animated picture in the Disney animation canon. Following the second release in the 2019. On 10th of October in 2017, Disney confirmed the project's consolidation. Plot. Second Spain, during the age of exploration, the film follows Jack as he found a realm of giants hidden under the skies. Jack meets the female giant Inma, who is 11 years old, 60 feet tall, fairly tasty and a lot of fun to control, and is reported to weigh over 9 stones or 180,000 pounds. Grandma explained that she treats him like a lot doll. Meanwhile, the opponents, the Storm Giants, stand 120 feet tall. Development. John Lasseter formally announced the film on 14th of August in 2015 at the D23 Expo. The film will be a musician feature songs written by Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez, who previously composed the soundtrack for the Academy Award-winning film Frozen in 2023. The couple received the Academy Award for the Best Original Song for Let It Go. Darcy McKim, who produced the critically acclaimed short Get a Horse, was conferred as the film producer. Following the official announcement of a gigantic rebound, as Percy stated on social media that he will be storyboarding the film. On October 3rd in 2016, it was revealed that writer Meg Hugh will co-direct the film with Grano. On the 25th of April in 2017, Disney revealed that the release date had been moved ahead to 25th of November in 2020 from November 21st of November in 2018. Status partially found. Inside Out Bing Bong that scene. I'll explain to those who only watched the second part of Inside Out. Bing Bong was Riley's imaginary friend, which the home she played in the yard or house in Alaska before they moved to California. Now let's move on to the plot. He and Joy ended up with Mary Dump since Joy had a red stellar with her, which was literally the same as Riley owned. She decided to save herself and Bing Bong. To do this, they remember a song that the main character sang. Fortunately, Joy survived, but she realized that Bing Bong would not be able to survive. So, is the sense of Bing Bong's death, which is changed in the final version. According to Bing Bong's voice actor Richard Kind, the final half of this sequence was originally trimmed to 40 seconds to a minute longer, allowing the spectator to hear him blending and see his partly disappeared body. Many Pixar employees liked this version of sequence to the one shown in the finished film. It was omitted, however, because to worry that it would be too disturbing for the public to watch. According to Kind, it was quite similar to the scenes in Bambi, where his mother is shot by a hunter and killed. The agreement inside Pixar was that it would be removed from the finished picture. The original edit has yet to be distributed to the public. It is not even listed as deleted on the Blu-ray Disney Movies Anywhere or Disney Plus version, which instead feature unfinished scenes from the when the film was known as Brainstorm. On 6th of September in 2021, user Jamie Keller published a 7-second snippet of incomplete animation that allegedly originated from the original scenes. It should be noted that this is not the whole scene. Stated Lost Kingdom of the Sun. Newt. Newt is a cancelled Pixar feature movie. It would have been the studio's 14th picture acquisition, eventually filled by Brave. Gary Wrightson was set to make his full-length feature film The film was initially intended to be released in the summer of 2011, but was moved back to 2012, where it was replaced by Brave in Pixar production schedule, making the Monster University's Pixar 14th feature with no new release date set. Plot. As started in the Disney press release, what happened is the last remaining male and the female blue the newts on the planet are forced together by science to save the spices and save take hands and each other. That the problem facing Newt and Brooke, Heroes of Newt, the Pixar film by 7 Academy Award winner for sound, Gary Wrightstrom, and the director of Pixar's Oscar-nominated short, believe that Newt and Brooke embark on delicious, unpredictable adventures and discover that the hand in the maid never goes as planned. Even when you only have one choice, love, it turns out is not a science. Production. During the April 2010 announcement, Disney/Pixar did not specify an edited release for Newt. Additionally, head archivist Dave Smith withdrew the film from the Disney agency Encyclopedia Summit. Smith saw email accounts and an assigned message stating the film has been cancelled. This communication, together with statements from the other industry insiders, flew the rumors that the project had truly been scrapped. Disney/Pixar animation boss John Lasseter declined to comment. Also, separate source from within the company indicated that we have taken Newt off of our development schedule to allow our creative teams to focus on these upcoming projects. Gary Wrightstrom has now been selected director of the short, an indication implying that Newt is no longer taking his time. In March 2014, Kimmel said that before being cancelled, Newt has given orders to be the doctor. Newt was another improbable notion that was not working. When we presented it to different person, Peter, Doctor, director of Monster Incorporated and Up, he said, "I'll do it, but I have another idea altogether, which I think better, and we also it was better too." Also, there were Easter eggs for this cartoon, such as the Sorcery and Brave status partially found. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, also known as Oswald, is an animated character developed by Walt Disney and dubbed iWorks for Universal Pictures. Oswald first appeared in the short film Charlie Travels on 5th of September in 1927 and is known for his capacity to deconstruct and rearrange his bodily parts at will. He is recognized with pioneering personality animation, which refers to turn figures that express distinct emotions. In Oswald's scenes, he is frequently portrayed as pompous, vigilant, and enthusiastic, which resulted in humorous includes that tested the Rabbit Hallmark line. Due to fictional disagreement with producer Charles Smith, Disney, along with iWorks and a few other loyalists, abandoned the Oswald series. The surviving crew would independently develop Mickey Mouse, Oswald's replacement. Oswald remained with Universal, appearing in the short pictures until 1938 before drifting into oblivion. The Walt Disney Company purchased the Disney-made Oswald cartoons in 2006. The character would resurface later, beginning with the 2010 video game Epic Mickey, which portrays Oswald as a lone, forgotten actor with vengeance against Mickey. Since then, Oswald has featured in products, theme parks, and animated films. Background. Personality. In early cartoons, Oswald was quite similar to the early iterations of Mickey Mouse, the mischievous but well-meaning character who became popular in cartoons in the 1920s. He was lively, innovative, and adventurous, and he almost always got into trouble but managed to get out with cleverness and humor. Oswald enjoyed playing and making others laugh, but despite his weakness, he has values and strives to do the right thing. His personality attributes were unrespected at the time, since most current stars lacked personality and he preferred the new emotion, humor, or slapstick. In his current restoration, partly in the Mickey Mouse series, Oswald is portrayed as a more aggressive, serious, and short-tempered lighthearted than Mickey, while having the scenes of comedy and joy. Oswald is unfriendly to newcomers and appears cruel to those he does not trust. He is incredibly bold but overconfident, which causes Oswald to impatience and at times unformed, leading to fumbling. Ironically, while being known as lucky, Oswald is prone to both good luck and bad luck, which has led him into many disastrous circumstances of many, which are the result of his own overconfidence. He can only escape this via his own good fortune. History. In January 1927, Charles Mintz, chairman of Winkler Pictures, instructed Disney and iWorks to develop cartoon characters that they could sell to Universal Pictures, which wanted to re-enter the animation market and needed its own mascot. Disney began developing both the persona and the movie immediately after relocating his studio to Hyperion Avenue. Disney decided to make the figure a rabbit at the recommendation of Universal's founder Carl Laemmle. Universal's PR staff decided to the characters named by Pauline. It formed a head containing slips of paper with various names of them. In an early press release, Universal Weekly referred to the figure as Oswald, the Welsh rabbit. The first Oswald cartoon, Poor Papa, was not well appreciated by Universal officials or means. Universal initially did not release it in theaters. Disney and iWorks designed the younger, cleared Oswald for their next animation, Charlie Troubles. It was highly received. Several Universal released in theaters on 5th of September in 1927. Universal continues to advertise the character. As time passed, Disney became concentrate that means would not extend the contract in part because iWorks informed Disney that George Winkler's man's request had been going behind Disney's back on pickup trips for Oswald reels and hiring away his animations. Walt eventually flew to New York with his wife Lillian to look for other possible distributions for his studio's cartoons, including Fox and MGM, for meeting with Mintz. To put it briefly, there is so much information and animation that you could create a separate issue about Oswald. Status partially lost. Tangled's early drafts. Disney Tangled was the remaining of the traditional Grimm's fairy tale Rapunzel. It was the first time that Disney adapted a fairy tale into a computer-generated third-dimensional film rather than standard second-dimensional animation. However, the film's development was chaotic. Several proposals were made, each with a distinct take on the tale. Some were more contemporary, while others retained the fairy tale motifs. Unfortunately, many early drafts of these pitches have been lost after they were rejected. Original pitch version. After the success of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in the late 1930s, Disney aimed to adapt Rapunzel in the film. While working on Tarzan in 1996, legendary animator Glenn Keane came up with the idea for a Disney animated animated film. This version of the film would have been musical, with Chris Curtis writing the song. In 2001, he proposed a plot to former Disney CEO Michael Eisner. Eisner allowed it, but required that it can be computer graphic rather than hand-drawn. Keen was allegedly assistant to work on computer graphic pictures since he preferred hand-drawn animation. But Eisner challenged to create computer graphics as fluid and elegant as conversational animation piqued his interest. He and his began working on developing the technologies required to make this challenge a reality. Their most famous test was a reproduction of painting the swing, which depicted Rapunzel swing in one's swing. Soon after the original presentation, the DreamWorks Rec was launched and was welcomed with enormous success. In response, Eisner tasked Keen with making Rapunzel more like Shrek, converting for the film from a gloomy rendition of the original fairy tale to a larger all-ages comedy. Prior to this changeover, nothing is known about the film narrative. Screenwriter John Bernstein has stated that he was the first writer on the project, but it is unclear when he began. There have been no script drafts released since. Chris Curtis uploaded demos of the songs he wrote for the film. Are there girls in the world like me? And all that I've done for you to his website. Rapunzel Unbraided. With a shift to a more Shrek-like tone, a new title emerged, Rapunzel Unbraided. Michael Eisner suggests that the plot be set in modern-day San Francisco. Disney regularly discussed this form of the picture, thus a lot of is known about it. Disney was at odds with Pixar at the time, and Rapunzel Unbraided was their flagship title, which they felt would demonstrate that they could compare with Pixar quality. In 2005, Disney featured session at the SIGGRAPH Computer Graphics Conference. Glenn Keane delivered a presentation that included concept drawings and sessions for numerous forthcoming projects, including Rapunzel Unbraided. This was synonyms for film. Rapunzel. The cancellation did not last long since Pixar veterans at Catmull and John Lasseter were appointed to oversee all Disney animation once the two companies combined. One of their first decisions was to bring Rapunzel back into pre-production, but this time with a darker vision than Keane had originally intended. Claire Vincent and the current tale set in San Francisco was discarded, leaving just Rapunzel, Malgasol, and Suitor. This time the suitor's name was Sebastian. At first, he resembles a parrot, but his design evolved into a friendly, gigantic thief. Griffith was a nasty, saving character. Head of animation John Lasseter's presentation of the first act of the plot in the summer of 2006, and allegedly said it was one of the best opening acts to any Disney picture. Many alterations were made to this version of the movie. The Basset Hound was retained as a pet character. The previously written song were removed totally, and the Master Gazelle was described as a sinister, brooding villain in the tradition of the Queen in Snow White. In 2008, artist Tabby Shelton storyboarded a scene in which Gazelle assists Rapunzel in washing her hair, and Rapunzel begins humming a melody from the outside world that she cured from the interior. Later, the night, while Rapunzel sleeps, Gosel investigates her chamber for further evidence of a connection to the outer world. The painters were influenced by Rembrandt's paintings, which had dramatic lighting and tone hues, and they wanted to give the film a similar style. The film development progressed, and Dean Wellins was hired as a co-director in the spring of 2007. He suffered a heart attack in October 2008, forcing him to leave the project. This marked the end of Keen's version of the picture, as Nathan Greno and Byron Howard were brought in to reimagine the film's themes, transforming it into a more classic Disney fairy tale musical. There isn't much known about plot before this web, and no script has ever been produced or leaked. Tangled. Grant and Howard enlisted Disney veteran Alan Menken to create music for their version of the film. The couple also intended to base the graphics of the film on other Disney's fairy tales, including Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. The male lead evolved into Flynn Rider as Detective Thief. The title was changed from Rapunzel to Tangled following The Princess and the Frog Lovers and accepted the box office performance. Disney officials were concentrated that the guys might be turned off by names that felt girly. Until its publication, the plot in the edition remained mostly unchanged. There were many deleted scenes and two different openers on the DVD and Blu-ray release. The creation had planned to begin with a fairy tale beginning similar to the previous Disney films, but decided against eating flavor on the final film's Flynn Rider voiceover. Donna Murphy, who was the mother Gosel, narrated the fairy tale openings. The remaining deleted sequences roll from the middle of the film around the Snankling Tackling segment. Before the song I'm Gonna Dream was composed, there was no musical performance at the bar, formerly known as the Gentry Moose, and the ruffians and the criminals performed poetry. Following that vignette shows the ruffians and the thugs watching Rapunzel and Flynn live on a wagon. They waved to Rapunzel but glared at Flynn. Finally, Witcher and the visionary monkey fortune teller tells Flynn and Rapunzel about their destinies. Winker appears in the end credits of both the final film and the spin-off animated series Tangled series, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure. The initial trailer for the film had Rapunzel's hair beating up Flynn as he enters the tower. Several shots in this section are fully illuminated and animated. Also, they do not appear that way in the finished film. The hair works similar to a deleted scene from Gentleman's in which Rapunzel uses her hair to beat up the sons and the ruffians. Their scenes cycled to Rapunzel's hair was intended to be more prominent in the flying during the early parts of the plot. This edition also had chopped song lately titled You're My Forever. The sole formal mention of it is an article in the September 2009 issue of D23 magazine. And yes, Pascal might not have been a chameleon, but a squirrel. Status partially found. The story Black Friday Reel. The Black Friday Reel is a notorious storyboard reel for the 1995 Disney Pixar animated picture Toy Story, which almost resulted in the film's cancellation following its premiere on November 19, 1993. The only full-scene show was an illustrative take on how Buzz was knocked out of the window, but the mini documentary Black Friday, the Toy Story you never saw, included two other snippets showing the Slinky attempting to get up out of the bed, as well as what appeared to be an alternative take on the birthday scene. Only 2 minutes of the real route edit are now available, hence the majority of this work is lost media. Furthermore, there is contradictory information about how long this version was in development, whether it was fully animated or only storyboard. Most likely version given to Disney was combination of the two. It unclear why the remainder has never been made public, but it's widely assumed that it's because Pixar is too impressed to let the rest see the light of day. There is also a creepypasta about the incident involving this reel. Status partially found. Toy Story 2 Bullseye dialogue test footage. The concept of having the Bullseye talk persisted for a long time in the development, with full lines appearing in early iterations of the script, but it was abandoned when Disney started that either he or Jesse would have to eliminate it. The animation crew even performed some crude animation attempts to demonstrate how Bullseye talking would have worked. There's also some early concept art and storyboards that appear to be from the version of the film with his dialogue. According to Colin Brandy, the film's director, when it was planned as a direct-to-DVD sequel, Martin never recorded any voice lines for the role, and Frank Welker did some sound effects voices after the original concept was abandoned. Status partially found. This part is going to end. Don't forget about like and subscribe for the next part. Bye and see you soon!